Hi, welcome back to my homegrown farm here in the Northern Rivers of New South Wales, Australia. Today, we're back in the high tunnel and I'm going to be teaching you about how we grow vine crops, specifically tomatoes, in these grow bags. These grow bags are 50% core, 50% chip, made both from a coconut husk. And you can see these tomatoes are incredibly healthy. Now, I use two systems. These are the single planter bags. I typically use these for cucumbers and eggplants, but sometimes for my more precious tomatoes. And today we're going to be planting one of my favorite varieties, the Rix 1 Gourami variety. It's a green, oblong shaped cherry tomato, and it's incredibly sweet. In fact, we've got one here which is producing beautiful trusses. Have a look at the size of this truss that's forming here. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, and maybe some more coming. So this is going to be an ultra long truss of incredibly healthy tomatoes. And having a look down, you can see we've planted it in the single planter bag. Now what I'm going to do today is just show you how we start these bags. So firstly, you start with the bag that starts like this. Inside is the actual medium. I'm going to start by labeling it. So I'll just put the name of the variety on the front of the bag, which I'm doing there. And then the first thing that we need to do is start inflating the bag. So I like to give my bag a really good soak, inflation soak with water. And so I actually use rainwater here, and I've got my rainwater tap here. So this is going to just dribble down some water. Now, if you had a big farm, you wouldn't do it this way. You just put the drip system in. It actually has 2 holes for the drippers in, and just let all of them inflate. But I'm doing them kind of 1, 2, 3 bags at a time. So we're just going to let that go until it's fully inflated. Okay, so now we've inflated our bag, and you can see that it's fully expanded and it's very wet. So this is exactly what we need to plant the seed in. We simply take our seed. Now, you may say, well, why don't you plant 3, 4 seeds and just kind of cut off the ones that don't do so well and keep the strongest plant? Here's our seed. This is our Rix 1 Gourami seed, that little green seed there in the middle. And the answer to that is because these seeds aren't cheap. They're quite expensive. And to be honest, if it doesn't grow or it's not a healthy looking plant, then I'll just do it again. Now, you'd ask, why wouldn't you just start this seedling in a seeding tray and then transplant and put a transplant in there? Well, because I want the strongest possible plant. I want 0 transplant shock. So I start the seed in the bag, okay? And that means that those roots are going to be able to spread out and will never get any sort of transplant shock or any issues. So I'm going to simply take my seed, make a little hole in the middle. You can see that the coir is quite soft. Take the seed and plant that, and that's it, pretty much. You can give it a bit of a sprinkle of water with the watering can. It's not necessary because that's soaking wet. And what I wanted to do is just show you what it looks like when it's kind of started. So if we just come over here, you can see that I've got, this is a Gourami's in a 5 planter bag, which is similar, but you just got 5 holes in a 27 litre coir plus chip, 50-50. And you can see that these now are almost ready to have the fertigation on them. So once they get to about that size, I may give them a little bit of liquid fertilizer just to give them a bit of a boost early. Then I'll just move them into the, the irrigation lines, and I'll put some irrigators in there. You can see here that this is another one that we've already transplanted. We've got the irrigation line here. I'm putting about, this is fertigating probably about at 2 litres per hour for about 40 minutes a day. This one's slightly more advanced, and of course this one's slightly more advanced. And so because we're here about self-sufficiency, we want to be constantly planting. So we've got plants at various stages of the cycle. You know, it's not like, I guess, a commercial farm where, you know, you may just do the whole tunnel house at the same time and then bring in your helpers to essentially maintain that. Here, we're going to be starting the cycle on a continuous basis. So we tend to, for our homestead, we've got about 11 people in our homestead with some neighbours coming in for some free produce. What we typically do here is start about 3 or 4 plants every 2 weeks, and that gives us a steady supply of the various types of tomatoes that we like to eat. So thanks for joining me and understanding a little bit more about how I grow tomatoes in my high tunnel using cocoa chip and peat bags and essentially fertigation as a nutrient delivery system. This system I think you would love, especially if you're a busy executive like myself and you're only home on the weekends. this is pretty much set and forget. You just need maybe some helpers or some enthusiastic children to come in and, you know, during the week after school perhaps do a bit of pruning and twiddling around the strings and just maintain your tomatoes to make sure you get those nice long healthy trusses. But besides that, it's pretty much set and forget. Keep those nutrient tanks topped up, check your pH every now and then, check your EC and make sure that it's all right. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. You can do it too. So thanks again, and it was great to have you.